Just wanted to kick off this channel with a short video about me and what to expect from this channel going forward. It kind of all started in October. We had our first child, and then in November I had shoulder surgery. That basically limited all the stuff that I would normally do, ice fishing, hunting, and all that fun stuff, all winter. I was cooped up inside just trying to get my shoulder to heal. In all of that time, what I did was I basically spent all my time on the internet, either watching videos or finding some scientific articles to read. Basically, what I learned in that is there's a lot of good sources out there when it comes to walleye fishing in terms of the how-tos and all that fun stuff. When it comes to salmon fishing, there's a lot of videos, but it's basically just a GoPro and a boat and guys reeling in fish. There's not a whole lot of meat and potatoes type stuff. There are a couple really good outlets out there, but in the grand scheme of things, compared to other species, there's really not. So with that, I thought, I could make a channel primarily salmon fishing, because that's primarily what I do. My two favorite things are probably salmon fishing and baseball. We're probably not going to touch too much on the baseball. We're going to leave that out. But, I love salmon fishing. We're going to dive into some walleyes probably here and there, just because springtime's always fun to get the boat out and do that. But for the most part, it's just going to be salmon. A little bit about me. Started fishing on Lake Michigan when I was about 10 with my dad and a 16-foot Sylvan. When I was about 12, Dad bought a 21-foot generic cuddy cabin boat. We kept in Kewanee, also got a camper right at the public launch in Kewanee. And basically we would go there from Friday night, fish Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, go home, rinse and repeat every single weekend of my entire childhood in the summer. When I was about 12, we got that 21-foot boat. Dad basically just drove. He allowed me to pick the lures, run the lines, do anything I wanted, because he's doing it to basically make me happy. But I would, since we had the camper there, I would spend every minute that I wasn't sleeping or fishing, basically walking circles around the cleaning station, being a sponge, soaking up as much as I could, most of which I didn't understand at the time, but it, allowed me to try some different things, and away I went. Started fishing with my brother and nephew then, about the time I graduated high school. Dad got out of it. He just kind of got old. If it wasn't for my brother, I probably would have got out of it too, because I wouldn't have had a means to carry on. I didn't have my own boat at that point. He kind of took me in. The three of us fished together for a long time. I got to fish with a bunch of his friends too, if he wasn't around or if his boat was full. I was doing that the whole time I was in college. I went to Stevens Point. I have a degree in fisheries and water resource management. I went that route because in Kewanee in the fall, I thought the fish hatchery there and all the salmon coming up and everything they did there was, one of the coolest things. I still think it's one of the coolest things. That being said, if I went back to college, I would do it all over again and something a little bit more relatable to other aspects. But because of my degree, I feel like if you can understand the biology of the fish, it's going to make you a better fisherman in some aspect. You're going to be able to kind of understand why they're doing what they're doing. About the time I graduated college, 2012, I met another guy, a friend there at the time. He worked for Real Action Charters in Sturgeon Bay. He said, "Hey, I have a trip tomorrow. If you want to go work it up there for me and they like you, they'll keep you." He was kind of getting out of it, got a quote-unquote real job. So I went up there and, I jumped on the back of a 48-foot Viking, and I'm kind of at a loss for everything. The boat's about as wide as as all the other boats I've fished on were long. And Jeff, who owned it at the time, he's about one of the most laid back people in the whole world. So he did the same thing my dad did and just said, hey, here's the rods, here's the lures, figure it out. So needless to say, I've been there ever since. Been there since about 2012. In that time there, I've fished with a lot of different captains or people in general. Been on a lot of different boats, running about 150 trips a year. Boats of all different sizes. I've fished on a Grady with an inboard about 25 feet. I fished on a 35 Viking, a 37 Wellcraft Cosmel, a 36 Chris Craft Commander. I fished on the old Angler Avenue boat with those guys a little bit. Ran charters on that boat even with their gear, so I was able to pick their brains. It was a 31-foot pursuit with twin outboards. There's a period of time where those guys were, arguably some of the best fishermen on Lake Michigan. So I got to, kind of pick their brains. Now we have a 48-foot Viking up there, a 40-foot lures, and a 27-foot Grady with outboards on it. So I've got to fish on a lot of different rigs and with a lot of different people. When I was a mate, I fished with numerous captains. They all did things a little differently, as does everybody, and I was able to take all that information from growing up and then, on a more quote-unquote professional scale and throw it together and kind of make it my own. There was stuff, and there still is stuff from, all the captains and even me fishing with Scott a lot. There's stuff that he does. There's stuff that all the other guys do that I liked, that I took individually from each one of them that I would have never done had I not experienced it firsthand. And there's also stuff that they did that I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't like that. So I've kind of like put that over on the side. And at the same time, I've used all that to think about what I liked as a mate what the captain did this or the captain did that, and try to, kind of work that down into the mates that I'm working with to make both of our lives easier. But anyway, over the course of that time, I bought my own boat, which is just a 20-foot Starcraft, just your typical walleye boat. But I can do everything I can on a big boat. You just lose, some of the abilities in rough water. Every boat I fish on it, you can take the same setup and basically put it from boat to boat. It doesn't matter the size of the boat. But I'm basically fishing the northern half of the lake. Most of what I do, obviously, real action charters in Sturgeon Bay, so I'm up there fishing the Bank Reef a lot. But in my personal boat, I'm fishing anywhere from Sheboygan north, and then I fish on the other side of the lake some too. We go across and we fish a tournament in Frankfort, Michigan every year, which is probably my favorite weekend of the whole year. I fish tournaments all around, and last year we won the ladies tournament in Sheboygan. We won the pro tournament in Sheboygan. We got second in the Kewaunee offshore, and we won the Frankfurt pro division in their tournament. Moral of the whole thing here is I'm always trying to learn. If there's nothing else to do, I'm going to be trying to watch videos, try to learn, because if you're not learning, eventually, especially in today's age with technology and all the rest, you just get passed by. So my whole goal here is to make a page where you can learn. It's basically another outlet to learn, just like I've had so many outlets to learn from with the boats and the people and everybody's. I've had the ability to pick their brain. I just want to put another outlet out there so you can use that resource and form your own opinions. I mean, there's about two things in salmon fishing that are right and wrong. All the rest is you have to figure out what works for you. So I just hope that this page is another outlet for you to do that, and we'll see you on the next one.